Here we are, the last day of February. I love that it's on a Friday and the 1st of March starts on a Saturday. We've been having really nice weather this week, and our deck, we can see it again, but there's a snowfall warning and storm warning for tonight. So anyways, I did put on my little green tablecloth. I've been changing some things. I did share with you this little coloring that I did, but I am ready to say goodbye to all of the kind of like wintry things. And I also put a few things on my hutch here. Just a box of Kleenex, this Home Sweet Home, for a little bit of greenery. And these are just from Dollarama. I put them in here. These are kind of my staples. And this is something I used to keep on our table in our very first home. So it's old, but I don't know, it's sentimental, and I do want to finally get some stuff on the wall in the next month or two and find the right items. So I got all of the Valentine stuff packed away, and then I have all of the green blankets here and ready to go. The pillows are very large, and Linus is like, "Ooh, did you get pillows?" The boys' beds are a mess. And I was in at Winners and I found this tray. At first I was looking for something wood, and then I saw this and it was $25. And then I'm thinking, well, white would look really good because that's kind of like what our furniture is now. It seems really big, but I'm going to give it a try. If I don't like it over the weekend, I'm going to return it. I also got my nails done, so I have green with a little bit of gold. So I am definitely ready for the month of March, and I'm looking for a blanket for this here too. I'm not exactly sure what I have, but we will leave that until tomorrow. And I just took a little bit of time today to kind of tie up the loose ends. So I did this for January and February, and then I just kind of copy and pasted my February goals, and then I just did a little bit of a recap, and then also a little bit of, what I want to continue working on that I didn't get done in February, just to maintain all of that. And then just some of the things that I'm trying to set up that routine for the whole year, January to February, and then some of the things that I'm trying to work on and declutter. But you can see all of this in my past videos if you want to know more about it. But in March, I go from green into yellow for spring and Easter when we go into April. So anyways, it is now March the 1st. And this is what we woke up to, some snow. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. We were supposed to get a lot more during the night, but it was also very windy. So the snow was blowing. So some areas are a little bit higher than others. But poor old Frosty was finally losing all the snow on his hat, and now he has a little bit more. So here we are, the very last day to look at my February calendar. It's one of those little joys that I have. It's a tradition that I bought a calendar for my mom. I still do, and now my daughter buys it for me. So I always love to see what the next month is. It's that gift that gives all year long. So here it is, March, green and yellow, 31 days and notions. Kind of interesting, like I was looking at blankets, and here she is looking at all the different quilts and kind of changing up a little bit of the decor. I love that it's another month starting on Saturday. We have Ash Wednesday. The time changes, my least favorite day of the year. I do not like spring ahead. And we have St. Patrick's Day, and the month ends on a Tuesday. So not as nice and neat and tidy as kind of February was, but it's nice to have a new picture to look at, and I'm very excited to see what March has in store. And so far, I think the picture is very fitting with what I'm kind of wanting to do with my home for the month of March. I took some time this morning just to dust and vacuum and sweep the floors and everything and get everything ready. And I'm really trying to only use what I have and see if I can make it work before I go out and buy anything new. And of course, Linus is going to be my little helper. really feel these little changes during January, February, and March during the winter months have been very helpful. I'm loving the green. I just used some little items that I had to put on the tray, and my husband really likes it. So I think we're going to be keeping it. And of course, the boys have some nice fresh bedding. Perfect on this very first day of March. So I have a couple of blankets left. We just had our second cup of coffee. And yesterday I showed you that I did a little bit of housekeeping, tying up all of the loose ends for February. And then this morning I spent a little bit of time kind of thinking about what I want February to look like. My goals: continue working on the basement, my upload schedule, continue my established routines. I'm going to be doing some decluttering, using timers to avoid feeling overwhelmed. I do want to do a trip to IKEA, really using fresh produce. And I really want to get back to enjoying dinner. I found I lost a little bit of that as February went on. And then I'm going to be doing a kitchen declutter. I kind of broke everything down into like certain areas of my kitchen, like just taking it one shelf at a time. So I'll be able to share more of that in like some vlogs during the month of March, and we'll see how that goes. And then I also, I'm going to start the whole decluttering process, but I'm going to use some little like kind of number sheets to help me, and I'm going to share a little bit of that later in the video. And this is the printable. I will link it down below, and then I just wrote in the numbers myself. So I still have some stuff to finish up from February, but now I do have some goals for March. It didn't take long for the beds to get full. Hunter decided to curl up in the donut. That's what we call this bed. So I just decided to move lamb chop for him to give him a little bit more room. They kind of like will switch with the beds, but it's really cold. I find Hunter likes to be all curled up and everything. So Linus doesn't know what to do because Steve just went upstairs and he doesn't know if he wants to follow Daddy upstairs or follow me around. But anyways, I've just been, doing a little bit of decluttering. A lot of paper has kind of accumulated, and right now I'm just kind of keeping everything over here. So we have some coloring sheets and coloring books. I want to get that all packed away, my markers. Just did a little bit of tidying and everything in the kitchen. I need to sort through some recipes again. I know this is a cheese dome, but my little bakery item here, I just cleaned it all up and did the dishes from breakfast. And it's 9:47. I also am trying a new bread recipe today. I've been using one from Sally's Baking Addiction, but I find for 2 loaves it hasn't really been working. I went to all recipes and I found this Amish white bread, and it's for 2 loaves. So I want to try these new loaf pans that I got from Winners. So I went ahead and made the dough. I just sprayed everything with Dawn Power Wash. So it's going to go into the oven to rise for an hour, and then I'm going to do a little bit more work. So anyways, Hunter was curled up sleeping. I just wanted to check in on him. They are loving the fresh blankets. Same with Linus. He's sleeping over here. He's kind of shivering a little bit. He likes to be curled up too. So maybe if they slept together, it'd be a little bit easier. But here is the dough after an hour. So I'm just going to punch it down, and then I have my scale out. I'm going to try and get them as even as possible. And then this time it says to only let them rise for 30 minutes. And then Linus, he's just following me everywhere today because he's not in his normal little bed. So we got everything cleaned up. We had lunch. I'm going to be using this bowl again. I'm going to clean up a couple of things that we have. So I'm going to make a cake mix, and I took out some cream cheese just to make frosting. So I am getting the oven up to 350, and then I'm also going to make a stew for dinner tonight. So I want to get that started. Now it calls for 3 pounds of stew beef. I only have 1 pound. So I'm just trying to figure out how I want to break down the recipe. So I'm going to put the bread in, let it bake for 30 minutes. I put the rack right at the bottom, and I love the way that these came out. These were nice and brown compared to the other recipe. Even my husband's like, "Ooh, those look good." So I just put a little bit of butter on top. I just use my stick and just rub it in to get that little bit of, because I always use salted butter, and just get it looking really nice. I'm very happy with the way that they're looking. So I will link this recipe down below. It called for 2/3 of a cup of sugar, and I used less than half a cup, but I did use the vegetable oil. And now I'm just going to make this cake up. I'm going to use milk instead of water, and then I have the 3 eggs out in the vegetable oil. I thought about doing raisins and nuts and everything in it, but honestly, I just don't feel like it. So I'm just going to go ahead and use a cake mix, make something for dessert tonight, not something I normally do. And I don't really think I'll be buying cake mixes again. It's really not something I use a lot. I used to get them a lot. They would go on for $1 when the kids were little, like making cupcakes and everything. But now I just don't really feel like it's something I need to have in the pantry. But I did want to use them up. I had planned on making like a pumpkin spice cake in the fall and I just never did. So into the pan it goes and then into the oven to bake up. I'm very happy with the way the 2 loaves of bread came out. One is a little bit bigger than the other. I think I just rolled the other one tighter, and I love the way that they browned up. They make 2 perfect size loaves, and we'll see how they are for dinner tonight. My goal is to enjoy one and then freeze one and see how it is after it's frozen. So the cake is done, and I want to get all that done because I need it in my oven because I'm making a very slow and low roast. I had a packet out and I just didn't want to use it. I wanted something a little bit more indulgent. So I had made this stew before and it was really good. I only have 1 pound of stew beef, so I'm going to cut the liquid in half, and I'm not going to use balsamic vinegar. I'm going to use Worcestershire sauce instead. And I was chopping the onions and Mr. Supervisor showed up for his shift. And as I was getting ready to brown up the meat, I could hear the wind at the window, and these are the days that I really enjoy when everybody is home. We don't need to be anywhere. I have homemade bread. We're going to have dessert. I'm going to make a nice, delicious dinner. And I enjoy being in the kitchen so much more on these days when I have time to do everything instead of rushing to try and get dinner on the table. So I'm just browning the beef. I seasoned it with salt and pepper. And I also got myself a new wooden spoon when I was at Dollarama. I got a couple of bamboo ones from Walmart, and I just wasn't happy with them. They actually split in half. So I'll see how these ones are because I love a good wooden spoon whenever I am cooking in the kitchen. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the beef out, and then I'll link the recipe down below so you can see exactly the whole process for the stew. Now I am just trying to get all the little bits off the bottom of the pot, and I was going to put the beef in, and then I remembered that you're supposed to put in the tomato paste and then just cook it for another minute. So as I'm doing that, I'm really trying to get all of those bits on the bottom because that's where your flavor is from the browning of the beef, the cooking down of the onions. And now I'm going to put the beef in, and because I'm only, I'm kind of cutting the recipe in half, I use 1/8 of a cup of flour, so I'm going to sprinkle that in and then just cook it for a little bit just to make sure that there's none left, and then all of the beef is covered. Now, the recipe called for about 6 cups of liquid, and I am just using half a cup of red wine. I didn't want it to be too strong, but I wanted to be really indulgent, and then I'm using 2.5 cups of beef broth. I'm omitting the water. I wanted to have a nice strong flavor with the tomato paste and then the wine and then the beef broth. So I'm just putting in all of the seasonings that it called for. I'm just cutting everything in half and the liquid in half, and then I also just use the Worcestershire sauce instead of the balsamic vinegar because it is not my favorite. So all you do is bring this to a boil, and then it's going to go into the oven low and slow for 325 degrees, and we're just braising the beef because I want it to be nice and tender, and we're just going to let the oven do all of the work. Down to the basement. So I had the dog blankets all washed, and this is where I'm putting all of the blankets for now until I figure out a better system. Now I was ready to kind of get rid of this pillow, the Happy Fall one. I bought it for our sectional couch that we have, and I keep humming and hawing on whether I should get rid of it or keep it. It does take up a lot of room, but I think I'm just going to hang on to it right now. It's one of those things, I don't want to rush it to get rid of it because I might regret it. It might go well on the bench, but I have these pillows here too. I want to try and find some covers for them at IKEA, so I have them to the side. And then I have some other odds and ends decor here, but this is one of the things that I'm looking for. I have this bunny in the yellow rubber, like the yellow raincoat with the rubber boots and the hat, but I really want like a duck because I feel like that says more of spring because everything is like bunnies for Easter. So this will be coming out shortly, but it's one of those things I'm going to keep an eye out because there's certain things that I like to bring out every year, and then there's some things that I'm going to be saying goodbye to. So now I'm going to go ahead and make some cream cheese frosting for the spice cake that I made. This was a recipe from Sally's Baking Addiction. It was really easy to pull together. It was just cream cheese, butter, some vanilla, and then the icing sugar. I made the full batch, but honestly, I only needed half of it. But I had the cream cheese left from Christmas. The date is coming up in March, and I just thought it'd be really nice to make something I don't normally make. And that's the thing about having this one day on the weekend. It's about making some things that I normally wouldn't make, and then I'm cleaning some things out of my fridge and my pantry and just not going to be buying a lot of these things again. So we'll just go ahead and get the cake all frosted, and then we'll put it aside to enjoy after our delicious dinner tonight. Half of what the vegetables called for, and then I had a little bit of celery, so I chopped it up. Now this is what the meat looks like after 2 hours, and it is so good. It smells amazing, and I'm kind of regretting that I didn't put all of the liquid in here because I'm thinking with the nice homemade bread how it would be so nice to dip it in there, but I didn't want to have like a great big stew with lots of leftovers, so I ended up putting a whole potato in, so I'm glad that I caught that. So a little bit of pepper, and I think I'm going to put a little bit more beef broth in there just to have a little bit more liquid. So back into the oven, it's going to go for 1 hour, and I'm going to take advantage of this hour to clean up. Andrew's going to have chili. I want to have this mug tonight after dinner with coffee and dessert, so I just want to get the price tag off. And then I have more cleaning up to do, and then I also want to get rid of the tomato paste. So anyways, this is what the stew looks like after the 3 hours of cooking. It smells amazing, and there's a little bit of gravy. I wish there was a little bit more, but I think it's just the right amount, and I have one more bay leaf to get rid of, and now it's time to cut into the bread and see how it is. So I'm going to get this one loaf that's a little bit higher in the one end, but this bread was delicious. My husband said it's the best one I've made, and I'm very happy with it. Now, I do want to try making it with all-purpose flour instead of the bread flour. I don't know if there's that big of a difference. Some people say they actually like it better with all-purpose flour, and I find you don't get as big of a rise. But anyways, there is the bread. I will link the recipe down below. And here is what is left of the stew. I just put it into some kind of plate bowls with some bread on the side, and it was so good. The meat was so tender with the wine and the broth and then the tomato paste. It was so good. It was perfect for a chilly first day of March. And then I'm having my March mug. I do have a tablecloth to match, but I'm going to save it. And then there's the cake with a very thick thing of frosting. So as I was eating it, little Linus wanted to go outside. So we were able to get the deck and everything cleaned off for him. And he wasn't out very long. It was so cold and windy. I just can't believe that March is coming in like a lion, but hopefully out like a lamb. So 8 o'clock, everything is cleaned up. I need to get a bigger Ziploc bag to freeze this, so I think we'll pick it up when we go out to get a couple of things at Food Basics. More bread, and then I'm just going to leave this here for the morning. I sprayed it with the Dawn Power Wash. All the dishes are done, and that's all for tonight. And a little bit of our Sunday morning. The boys are loving the blankets. Linus was all curled up in the donut. It's another chilly morning. I'm loving the green. The sun is shining, and then Hunter was over in his bed, just kind of like, he always messes the blankets up, so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna cover him up and see how he likes it. So we had some things to do. I was getting ready for us to go out and everything, and I'm just anxious to see how the dogs are. So anyways, I'm gonna be doing a little bit of decluttering too, so I thought I would share that with you, the whole process. Very, very quick declutter. Just went through some closets, some clothes. So this is a vaporizer that we're not going to be using anymore. We got a much nicer one, so that is my one donation. Then 2 adult coloring books that are just from the dollar store that I've tried to do over the years. Just too complicated, too hard. My husband went through his closet really quick, 4 shirts. I just went through Andrew's closet really quick, 6 items of clothes, and then for me, 7 tops that I did not wear this winter that I'm getting rid of. So 1, 2, 4, 6, and 7. So let's go back to that chart. So this is what I got rid of. And I just kind of wrote it down, like 1 vaporizer, the coloring books, Steve's shirts. And I think as I'm doing this, I want to kind of keep track because I want to avoid purchasing those things that are just not needed and, you know, to declutter. So I'll put that link down below. And then when I was in my office, I also found all of these recipe magazines that I bought last year. I never ever looked at them, so I'm going to donate them. So there was 12 of them. So that's all I'm going to do, is to try and, you know, help me. So in this amount of time, 32 items. That's how quick it was to do this, and just it'll make it easier when I go through all of the clothes. So anyways, we're gonna close this up, and there's the 2 bags ready to go. And the printable for March came out from Megan Miles Art. I will link that channel down below. I was wanting to do it yesterday, but it didn't go out until late. So this is my little coloring book, a year of coloring. I still need to finish it, but it's okay. Then the January one, I wish I would have done it more blue like I did February, kind of with my colors. So now I'm going to spend a little bit of time coloring, but first I want to share with you the new Cozy Girl Spring Coloring Book. I got it because of the duck. So I did color a few pages. It's from Millie Wynn. I don't know if I have any of her other ones, but it's just really simple. And I think I got it on Thursday, and I couldn't wait to color just some pastel colors, just brighter colors. I ran into some problems here. I find when there's bigger spaces, and then I did this sweater just with like the soft green and then the purple. I thought it was really nice. And then the last one I did was with the camera. So definitely ready to do some different colors and just kind of do it page by page. Very simple coloring. That's all I really want right now, is just to sit down, kind of zone out, do some colors that I haven't really used a lot, especially in like fall and Christmas. So anyways, let's spend a little bit of time and color for March. Megan Miles Art, I'll link her website down below. You just sign up with your email. I get 1 email a month free, and it's these coloring pages. I really like it. It's the first coloring book that I ever bought. And I noticed that she also has some printables. So if you don't want to buy a whole coloring book, like there's different packages that you can buy. I have nothing to do with her. I just want to, give her the credit because she's the one that kind of got me into this coloring, and she makes all of these coloring books herself. And if you're going to start off with coloring with alcohol markers, I always say start off with a small package, whatever you can find, see if you like it, and then determine how much you want to spend. So anyway, it's just a little bit of a start to the coloring, and I've really enjoyed it. So we're getting ready to go out, and here's the boys. Hunter is still curled up with the blanket. Linus is up suntanning, and buy them the blankets. They have such a short amount of time. This was Hunter's, second chance at life, and I'm so glad we brought him to come live in our home. And this was actually a Monday. I wasn't planning on this. This is what the boys look like Monday morning before I was getting ready to edit this video. So definitely worth buying them their own blankets. So I hope that you enjoyed this peek into what I'm doing for March, and I'm really hoping that it's going to be a great month with doing a little bit each day.